Sir, could you tell us about how Cyfirma is contributing to the cybersecurity industry of the nation and how the company is benefiting its client completely, sir?
No, thank you for asking that question. And look, we are helping nations, organization, individual to become aware of potential cyber threats towards them. And this is predominantly outside in view, right, from an adversary point of view. And essentially, as you know, most of the cybercrime really sort of starts from outside and really gets orchestrated towards your organization, most of the cyber attacks, right? And hence, if you look at it, what we do is we kind of give visibility for you to understand what you are up against and how you need to really sort of prepare yourself to better defend yourself against the adversaries. I think the second thing which we have done really well and we continue to do is proactively identifying potential threats pertaining to nations, organizations, and individuals. And I think that proactiveness was very much needed in cybersecurity space, because what we kind of started to see, the whole industry was moving towards a reactive way of responding back to cyber threats. Like unless and until a cyber crime was being orchestrated against you, there was no way for you to sort of respond back to it. And we are sort of flipping that whole, way of operating. And we are kind of moving towards proactive way of responding back to threats. I think the third important area is our ability to prioritize threats for organization. I think one of the challenges which organizations do face today is how do they go about prioritizing the number of threats and alerts and their telemetry systems, which are sort of generating a lot of noise there. How do they go about prioritizing the most important threats and respond back to it? What we essentially do is we kind of help organization to really sort of prioritize what are the top 1 or 2 or 3 important threats which they need to respond back to. I think the other part is cutting the noise. I think this is another problem which cybersecurity industry is facing. We are overwhelmed with alerts. We are overwhelmed with new type of threats, and let's go back and respond back to everything which is coming towards us. I think what we have been able to do quite successfully is kind of able to reduce that noise for cybersecurity teams. And the last piece is giving them a better contextual detail for them to make an informed decision using our platforms.
Sir, yes, sir, it's completely innovative the way you're transforming the industry, sir. And I feel this is the way cybersecurity should transform our lives. Sir, what makes your company innovative, and what are the key partnerships and involvements that are done to drive the innovation in the industry, sir, according to you?
No, look, again, see, Cyfirma, and we take a lot of pride in saying this, Cyfirma has gone about creating a new category of cybersecurity. We call it as external threat landscape management. This category never existed before. We were the ones who actually went about creating this category. Our ability to deliver complete, prioritized view of external threats and risk makes us very, very different than the way cyber security tools were being looked upon historically. I think there are other factors also in play here. I think our ability to collect, data at a scale, starting from all different type of webs, and these are a bit of a buzzword out there: dark web and deep web and private communities and communication channels. We collect a lot of data. We collect almost terabyte of data every day. We, using our analytical engines, which we have built, we analyze those data, we filter through those data, we do correlations, we do attributions of the data, really using, AI, ML, data lake, LLMs predominantly to sort of, really filter through those data to essentially give a very, very precise view of our client and customers' external threats and risk. We also have the ability to sort of disseminate the data in the right way. essentially into those 7 pillars which I spoke about earlier. And then we have built an AI-based orchestration layer by which, you are able to actually respond back to threats while you're communicating to our platform. It's an AI-based sort of orchestration layer, which is very, very responsive, very illustrative, and you can actually kind of communicate with our orchestration layer. I think the last piece on the innovation part, I would like to actually emphasize our ability to effortlessly integrate our platform into your environment also makes us very unique. Because this was a traditional problem in cyber where, you had one side of it, silo tools, who were not ready to talk to each other. And you had this always a sort of, problem of deploying human capital behind the tools to figure out, what are the most important threats you need to sort of, respond back to. What we have been able to do, not only sort of give you a comprehensive view of your external threats and risk on our platform, but we have been able to actually combine our platform as part of your cyber posture management to sort of deliver you a sort of unified view of your cyber management in a way. Of course, we work with number of partners globally, from IT services providers to consulting firms to technology companies. We have heaps of distributors across the globe, and we continue to sort of embrace our learnings with our partners and work with them very closely because they've got a deeper understanding of customer base and learn from their experience. We sort of also go back and try to sort of, educate them as to how the cybercrime community is evolving and why there is a need for a combined or a single view of your external threats and risk.
That's wonderful, sir, the way you describe the key partnerships and the innovation that your company is doing. Sir, could you give us a brief about how these disruptive technologies like AI, big data, and automation are impacting today's innovation according to you, sir?
Well, like other industries, right? AI, big data, automation is playing a very, very important role in cybersecurity as well. Also on the cyber defender side, as well as on cyber attacker side, because these technologies are also being used by cyber attackers quite effectively. But given the advancement in the tech, I think especially AI, NLP, your machine learnings, your data science, I think essentially what that has done for cyber defender, that has given an ability for cyber defenders to sort of collect data at a velocity and a scale, which was never there before. Number two, some of these emerging tech has been able to help really cyber defenders to sort of filter through all that data in a very effective way and in a very systematic way to really deliver the right insights, which makes a lot of common sense for cyber defenders to sort of apply that on their day-to-day. You have now machine learning models, LLM models, which are being used for data attribution, correlation of different verticals of threat management and combine them to see a single unified view. You have AI technology very heavily being used for reporting, recommendation engines, and we ourselves use most of these as part of our platform. So quite frankly, if you ask me, these emerging technologies have immensely helped cyber defenders to operate at a scale, process at a velocity and a scale, and sort of deliver outcomes quicker, faster, effective, and precise to the client and customers. Whereas if you look at from the adversary side of things, right, cyber criminal side of things, they are no less capable of using these technologies. We have started to now see, deepfakes, AI-based malwares, behavior-based malwares, target behavior-based malwares being created by adversaries. So I think both sides are equally benefiting out of these new emerging technologies, which is quite appalling, right? But of course, this race is gonna go for a while, and we need to find, as a defender, we need to find new ways and pivot very, very quickly to be able to actually stop some of these advancements from cyber criminals.
Yes, sir. I feel we should actually focus on all of these technologies, and we should impact cybersecurity so that our lives can be much better. And so, what are the key partnerships, according to you, that you feel should be there in the market to drive innovation and possibly transform the cybersecurity industry, sir?
Now, great question again, and I think that there are threefold. I think I would start with, I think, technology companies, and not only cybersecurity companies, right? But I would actually classify that as a whole technology companies. We need to start to collaborate. We need to open up a little bit. I think we have been always keeping, our trade craft always very close to our chest, and we have never opened up. Whereas if you look at adversaries on the other side, they are collaborating. They are sharing information among themselves. Whereas if you look at, on the cyber defender side, I don't think so we are that open right now. And that needs to happen from technology standpoint, from, threat management standpoint, from remediation standpoint. I think collaboration is quite important. And collaboration at all different levels, like from a strategic alliances perspective to technology, alliances, to how do we go about actually taking some of these innovative tools and embed that into, across the nation, across industry, across organizations. So that needs to play out. And I think the other factor, which is also very, very important, which is driving innovation, is the advancement of adversaries, cyber criminals. If you start to look at them and the way they have orchestrated cybercrime in the last 5 years, there was no option left for cyber defenders to innovate at the same level. Because we have clearly started to witness now cyber criminals collaborating. You have big influence of, state-sponsored groups who has got all the money in the world, who has got all the biggest possible infrastructure, and they've got all the time in the world to come and attack us. And hence, there was a clear need for cyber defenders to collaborate and innovate.
Yes, sir. It was a beautiful insight of yours about the industry, sir, and key partnerships are involved by all the technological companies. Sir, could you share your viewpoint on the current scenario of the cybersecurity industry and how will it be impacting our near future, and what will be the future completely in the cybersecurity sectors, according to you?
No, thanks for that. And see, there are twofold, I would say. One, I think from cybersecurity industry perspective, I think you're going to continue to see growth in this industry. There is no scarcity of cybercrime. There is no scarcity of hacks. It's not slowing down. Cyber criminals are becoming smarter and smarter. There are new tools and techniques which are being innovated by them. So essentially, I don't see that this industry is slowing down. I think we will have to pace ourselves up, quite frankly. The way I see, industry evolving, I think there's going to be a massive consolidation, which is coming. Right now, I think the industry is very much fragmented. You have like hundreds of cybersecurity companies operating under each tower of cyber posture management. And, one does one thing unique, the other one does other thing unique, and there is no sort of marriage within those pillars to sort of start to bring that unified view to organizations. So there is clearly a need for consolidation, and I see that in next couple of years, you're going to see a lot of consolidation happening in this space. And that's why from day one, our thesis has been deliver a single unified platform than a silo tools which doesn't talk to each other, which requires a lot of human capital investment for us to really deliver precisely those, unique threats to our client and customers. So surely the path is towards consolidation. Whereas if you look at from cyber crime perspective, cyber criminals are also actually evolving, and the evolution in them is, to be honest, is faster than sometimes cyber defenders. As I was saying earlier, right? We are now seeing almost 78,000 unique references of cyber criminals wanting to launch kinetic attacks towards companies, individuals, government agencies. And what are kinetic attacks? Kinetic attacks are cyber attacks which can cause human life loss. Now, this is quite invasive. It has never happened in such a way where cyber criminals have started to look at how can they possibly cause human life loss. We are seeing that uptrend. We are seeing now a clear trend in cybercrime community towards, exfiltration of data from IoT devices, which we never saw, right? Always the target used to be your IT systems, your applications, your databases. I think they're pivoting. They have also started to look at IoT devices, and essentially what I can sort of correlate here by saying that, well, most probably their sort of thesis is to understand behavioral sort of information of their target is essentially why they are banking behind IoT devices. We are seeing now almost 89% increase in attempts towards IoT devices and exfiltrating data from IoT devices. We are seeing extensive use of bots and deepfakes now. Almost 230% increase in hackers' conversation about deepfake. And I have no doubt in next couple of years, in fact, phishing is going to get taken over by deepfake. As you can imagine, deepfakes are way more invasive. It's way more real. And cybercriminals knows that if they use deepfake technology, their ability to succeed in orchestrating cybercrime is going to be way, way better. And hence, there is a lot of focus in their community towards deepfake and bots, right? We are also witnessing, as I was saying earlier, a lot of emphasis towards new emerging technologies, AI, ChatGPT. In fact, there's 400% increase actually in chatter to sort of use these emerging technology to orchestrate cybercrime. You have heavy involvement of now state-sponsored groups. So state-sponsored groups are almost sort of in a way, if I can say so, control 72% of cybercrime, either by themselves being involved or their infrastructure or their tools being traded out there by other cybercriminals. So to be honest, going back to your question, see, one way of saying that, well, cyber security industry is going to evolve and we need to do a lot of catch-up work, quite frankly, because the way and in the pace cyber criminals are embracing some of the new technologies and some of the new tools and techniques, I think there a lot needs to be done. But you are going to see evolution in both ways. Cyber defender side, you're going to see evolution. You're going to see on cyber attacker side as well.
Yes, sir, I completely connect with you, and I feel that cyber defenders should have more power, and we are able to overcome the challenge that we face in the future, and we hope we'll have a better future, and we'll overcome all the challenges that we face ahead. Sir, could you describe or could you tell us about the early challenges that your company had faced, or some major challenges that the company had faced, or is it facing till now? Could you highlight on that part, sir?
Well, look, one of the biggest challenge for us when we got started, Abdul, was we took a big challenge on ourselves. We said to ourselves that we are going to go about creating a new category of cybersecurity. And as you can imagine, if we would have created another tool, into endpoint protection or perimeter security or network security, it would have been relatively easier for us. Given we went about creating a new category called external threat landscape management, it was quite overwhelming for us to drive that awareness in the market. And awareness because, cybersecurity industry was not aware of this new domain, and they were not at all sort of ready to sort of pivot themselves and start to look at a sort of comprehensive tool which can help them in optimizing their cybersecurity operation. So awareness was a big challenge for us. How do we drive that awareness? And initial part of Cyfirma, initial days of Cyfirma, I think we were super busy in driving that awareness and really challenging some of those partners, some of those customers to sort of really understand why there is a need for new category of cybersecurity called external threat landscape management. Also, this whole thesis of silo tools and why silo tools are not going to be very helpful for our client and customers was a big sort of I would say challenge for us to overcome. I think the second part, which is quite important in building any company for that matter, was finding like-minded people who believes in your vision, who believes in your learnings, because we are all learning every day. This is not like, there is one person who is like a god of stature and who is driving sort of everything in the company. I think, in any young company, you need to be flexible enough to learn from your colleagues. But before that, you need to find the like-minded people. And I would say that was the second big challenge which we face. And I think the third one, which is more about the expansion side of things, right? How do we find the right model in which we go out to the market so that market is able to understand what it really means to embrace external threat landscape management and tools like Decipher and Detect, and how does that help them to better themselves in their day-to-day. And that continues to be a challenge, right? I think it's always a sort of journey, as we say. It's not like, you run to a goal post and you have achieved. It's always sort of, when you have achieved one goal post, I think you're going to see another post which you need to sort of aspire to get up to.
Yes, sir, I completely connect with you. And I hope that all the challenges that you have been facing till now, you overcome them and your company booms in the market in the next quarters, in the coming years. I wish you best of luck in that, sir. And sir, what do you see in the industry ahead and the outlook of the business in the next coming years, sir, according to you? What do you think about that part?
Now, great question again. And I think, as I was saying earlier, right, from cybersecurity industry perspective, I think we are going to see organizations continue to invest behind cybersecurity tools, processes, people. I think that investment is going to continue, and we will continue to see upward investment. I think from our perspective, we want to essentially be in every part of the world. We want to work with every IT service providers, to every consulting firms, to all different type of industries, starting from, and we essentially work with most of them today, but we want to actually get in front of industries which we have never touched before. Government agencies, of course, we work with a number of government agencies globally, but we want to expand our sort of footprint, and we want to continue to innovate. I think that is super important. We cannot be lagger on innovation, as you rightly asked before. This is one space where things are changing quite dramatically, and we would like to be the champion of external threat landscape management, and we would love to continue to be the champion of that new category which we have created, and continue to innovate, essentially bring up new capability, add new sort of forces to our tool, and continue to help organization to better defend themselves.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your insight. It was a pleasure talking to you and the audience that have tuned in for this podcast on multiple hosting platforms. We'll be listening to your insights and how the cybersecurity is basically changing and transforming our lives daily. And now with AI coming in and how you describe the deepfake technology and AI bots trying to manipulate us and trying to destroy our lives, your company has become a savior for us, and you're saving us from multiple threats and multiple obstacles that come in our life. So thank you for joining in for this session, sir. I hope you might have had a great time. And if you're watching this podcast on YouTube, please like, share, and host the podcast. Thank you for joining in, sir. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much, Abdul. Thank you for having me.